Hello everybody and welcome one more time to this YouTube space dedicated to personal growth as well as touristic places from all over the world. I'm Nadia Flores and today we're going to be talking about not doing things against your will, and we're going to be visiting Mexico City once again. It's going to be amazing. This is Grow and Travel. Stay with us. We are back in Mexico City, one of the most important cities in the world, and it's actually packed with uniqueness because it has everything from culture to education, political, touristic places for you to come and sightsee. Today we're going to take you to a beautiful place called Colonia Roma or Roma neighborhood. Very, very interesting for its hipster style, its beautiful architecture, and many other things that I'm going to show you. But before that, let's go to a coaching message. And welcome to our first coaching message of this episode. Today we have a very important subject that we're going to be talking about, and that is don't do things against your will. Don't do things that you don't want to do. And this goes hand in hand with a personal barrier situation that we spoke about in a different chapter, by the way, and we're going to tag it here shortly. But it is so important to be in tune with your emotions so that when you say yes, you go all in for that yes, and you truly want to do it, and it gives you pleasure, it gives you fun, it feels good, it feels exciting. But if you want to say no, please say no, because whenever you say yes and you mean no, then resentment starts to grow inside of you. When you start doing things out of being kind or being nice, or I'm just trying to be nice, and I understand, don't blame anyone, honestly, people are constantly telling us that we need to be nice, that we need to be kind and all that we need to be educated and do things that we don't want to do out of kindness, niceness, and education. And the truth is, that is crazy, that is nonsense. Because when you say no, when you say yes to things that you want to say no, then that means that you're putting others before you. And what happens when you put others before you? And I know this goes against all social norms, but the truth is you're going to start building resentment. And when you do that, then one day you end up frustrated and angry, and you end up exploding over people that don't mean to make you feel bad or anything, but you just have so much resentment inside of you for all the times that you have done things that you didn't want to do, that you end up exploding on them. You always have a choice, my dear, always. Even if somebody asks you to take care of them or something like that, you can, in a nice way, tell them no. Think about it. What if you, knock on wood, no, but if you drop that tomorrow, they would find another person to take care of them, or they would find another way to take care of themselves. Deliver it to them, like they are the ones that are in charge of taking care of themselves. Whether it's someone, a friend, or a significant other or whatnot, if they ask you as a favor and you genuinely want to do it, then go all in for it. But if it's something that is going to drain your energy and it's going to make you feel resentful for doing something that you did not want to do, I highly recommend saying no in a kind but polite manner. Kind, polite, and nice manner, but saying no and stating your truth and saying, I don't feel comfortable doing this, I'm not gonna do it. In block number 2, I'm gonna give you 3 tips on how to do this without feeling guilty, without feeling any kind of shame or feeling like you need to blame yourself for doing something, and that way you can live a more free, fulfilling, and happy life. And we're finally here in La Roma neighborhood. It's one of the most important neighborhoods in Mexico City because of its diversity of culture, of architecture, fashion, and of course, gastronomy. It's an amazing place that you cannot miss whenever you come and visit. So let's go check it out, shall we? Colonia Roma is a neighborhood in Mexico City built at the beginning of the 20th century in an area located near the center of the city. It is something like the spearhead of the transformation of Mexico City. If in the 1980s its streets were synonymous of insecurity, now they are the most frequented by artists and bohemians in Mexico City. In a city still dominated by cars, in this neighborhood, La Roma, there is a real possibility of getting around by bicycle. What was born as an exclusive residential area at the time of Porfirio Diaz, former president of Mexico, is now full of art galleries, vintage clothing boutiques, and the most alternative restaurants. There are actually 2 Roma colonies. The southern area, or Roma Sur, still retains its residential character, although little by little new restaurants and bars are beginning to appear. Roma Norte is one of the most important cultural corridors in the city, along with its neighbor, the Condesa neighborhood. Its original layout imitated at the end of the 19th century the French urban canons, just as President Porfirio Diaz liked it. The name of its streets owe their names to the European cities that were visited by a circus based in the old town of La Romita, which was the base of the construction of this neighborhood. The two main avenues for walking are Álvaro Obregón Avenue from east to west and full of restaurants, as well as Orizaba Avenue from north to south. Here, we can appreciate the varied architecture of the Roma neighborhood, which took up various European and historical styles, and which becomes eclectic in numerous houses that combine Arab, Italian, French styles, Art Nouveau, and Art Deco houses. It is a constant to see buildings that follow the urban layout, finishing off the architecture in pan-coupé, facades that sometimes take up the old houses of the historic center with profusely carved gates and quarries, topped by medallions or shields bearing the initials of the family or a nobiliary shield. After the 1985 earthquake, La Roma, along with many other neighborhoods in Mexico City, got empty. People sold their houses for cheap in fear of the strong destruction that was experienced in the central area. The neighborhood was abandoned for almost a decade, until its renovation began. Despite the heavy destruction of the original buildings, La Roma neighborhood is one of the areas of the city with the largest number of heritage buildings, with more than 1,500 relevant buildings. This neighborhood, La Roma, is undoubtedly one of the most important ones in Mexico City. In another program, I will be sharing with you some of the most popular establishments so you don't miss out on the culinary creativity that flourishes here. And of course, I will also tell you more about the most famous boutiques in this area, since La Roma is considered one of the cradles of the hipster fashion movement in Mexico City. Meanwhile, I'll leave you with these beautiful images as we transition to our second block of personal growth. And after going all around the beautiful Roma neighborhood, I am here to give you 3 tips on how to choose yourself and how to not do things that are against your will. So here we go. Tip number 1. It's all about being conscious, right? It's all about being conscious and being aware of what you're feeling. In the end, like I've told you before, our bodies are like compasses. They are always telling us. They are how God, how the Holy Spirit, how the universe, if you will, or whatever you believe in, the higher power, that's how they connect with us. So our bodies let us feel. If you pay attention to how you're feeling in your body, if it feels good, that means that it's a yes. If it doesn't feel good, if it feels constricting, that means that it's a no. This is when it's very important to be conscious and aware of your emotions inside your body. And that takes me to tip number 2. Once you know what you're feeling, then you can become creative. And creative, I mean, as in your options, because you always have a choice. Regardless of what people are asking from you, whatever they are needing you to do or needing you to do for them or asking you a favor, you always have options. You can always delegate it back to them. You can always delegate it to someone else. You can always choose a different route. You can always choose something else because you always have options. If you just become creative, then you can see that you have a multiple set of choices that you can decide on. Instead of doing something that you don't want to do, you come up with a creative answer for the other person. And then lastly, tip number 3, just say no. If you want to give the person an explanation out of being kind or out of being sweet or feeling like you owe them an explanation, you can. However, I'm here to remind you as well that you do not owe anything to anyone. And I know this is hard to hear because we've always been told otherwise, but it is very important to remember that when you say yes, meaning no, that just creates resentment within you. So simple, just say no. Now, if you or anybody that you know is trying to live a more free and fulfilling life, I would love for you to contact me through social media or at my email, nfloreshh@gmail.com, where I would love to connect with you and see if we can work together. Of course, if we are the right match to work with one another and if we click. I would love to be the one guiding you towards your goals. Other than that, that's it for now. And I just want to say thank you so much for watching, as we are now at the end of one more episode of Grow and Travel. If you haven't done so, I would like to invite you to subscribe to the channel and of course activate the bell so that you can get all the notifications whenever the new chapters come out for you. As you know, every Wednesday we have a new place and a new perspective for you. My name is Nadia Flores. This was Grow and Travel. See you next time.